Hello, everybody. Welcome to the live stream of Why Study Bachelors and Masters at the Faculty of Social Studies. My name is Miranda Sar, and I'm the Bachelor Ambassador for International Relations and European Politics.
My name is Catherine. I'm the Student Ambassador for the Conflict and Democracy Studies Master's Program.
My name is Priya. I'm the Ambassador for the Master's Program, Energy Policy Studies.
And I'm Nicolas Navas. I'm the Student Ambassador of Cultural Sociology and Sociology Programs.
Today we will go about our favorite courses, exams, theses, professors, favorite places in Brno, why should you study not only at FSS, but why you should study at Brno. But before we begin, how are you guys? Are you good?
Excited.
All good?
Yeah, perfect. So I'm going to begin a little bit with what is my program about. My program, I think, is the perfect combination of international relations and European politics, as the title obviously says, but also because it combines the pivotal role of Europe as a global actor, while also allowing students to learn about the role of states in the global arena. How do they work? Why do they take the decisions that they take? And etc. And Catherine,
Sure.
How about you tell us more about conflict, democracy?
Yeah, so as the title says, the program is focused on conflict and democracy studies. It's a really great mix of theory and practice. And there's also just such a variety of different classes. So there's something, I think, for everyone. The classes differ in their format as well. So we have a lot of courses that are obviously lectures and seminars, but there are courses that are solely discussion-based. We even had one course that was only conflict resolution. So we would all be split up into different groups and try to resolve a conflict without, arguing as a class. That was a lot of fun. We didn't always come to a solution, but I think that is also what happens in real life. So it's a great way to really understand how things work. And then the types of courses that we have also were quite interesting. Obviously, there's stuff on democracy, democratization, but also de-democratization. And then a lot of courses on the internet, whether it's hybrid warfare, disinformation, and a lot of classes on conflict management, analysis, resolution, so just all the different angles, and also lots of courses on regional focus. So if there's an area in particular that people like, then it's also possible for them to focus on that. So overall, I think the base of the program is really strong, but then there's place to really make it your own.
Well, thank you, Catherine. That sounds like a really cool program. And so we look out for that program, Conflict and Democracy Studies, right, Catherine? What about you, Priya?
Yes, so my course, it's all about energy. It's about how we get electricity, how is it made, and it touches upon technical things all the way to laws and regulations, to policies, to social aspects, to energy justice, to equal energy access. So we learn about right from how we get energy from, say, coal or oil, to how we make sure that it reaches the person in need. So it is a very multidisciplinary course, and we learn about the legal and policy aspects of it. We learn about not only the EU, but it is a really international course. So we learn about Asia, and we learn about Americas. We try to touch upon all of the continents, and because energy is such an integral part of all of our lives, so we have to have a world view of it, and it is. And also, if you want to dive more into the climate change and sustainability aspect of it, we have a lot of courses on transition, green transition, and environmental policies around it. So I would say it touches upon everything, and it is a very multidisciplinary course, as I said. So yes, it is a very good choice.
Thank you so much, Priya. And as Priya said, energy is very important. So also look out for this master course. But for the final master of this table,
Nicolas. All right, cultural sociology, a lot of people ask what it is about, and that's being different than normal sociology, even though there's both programs offered in the master studies. Cultural sociology studies the process of meaning making in society. So basically we develop interpretative skills for analyzing cultural meanings. And this is like relevant for a lot of institutions that where communication plays like a really important role. So analyzing, even on marketing, it's super important to analyze not only the culture, but the people, how they create meanings, how they interpret the things that they have in their surroundings. So it's not only about research and interpretation, but also it can be applied into the working force. So we can work as team leaders, you know, analyze and compare communication strategies. So basically it's multidisciplinary, like we have students from different backgrounds that they see in cultural sociology a way to see how their work affects society, you know, and how society molds the work that we're doing. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Nicolas. Now that you guys got a little bit into the programs, I wanted to ask if you guys could choose one course out of your program that you like or that you felt that everybody should know about it, which one would it be? Nicolas, you want to start?
Can I start?
Yeah, sure.
I would say advanced methods of interpretation. Like it's a different way, like for looking at images, text in general, like not only the text, like the written text, but it could be movies, it could be even objects and how people interpret stuff. So we go into analyzing iconic images, how they change society, how these images are so relevant for people, or text in general so relevant for people, that it can change the way people see the world. So I think that's the course where we explore the most, even the edges of dark humor, or for example, like how significant a picture from a family is for the family and the people surrounding them. So I felt that it was a really interesting course to go. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. What about you, Priya?
I would say it's a tough choice because I like the technical courses as much as I like the social courses. But I would say the most interesting course was about electricity. And we learned about coal, gas, and nuclear. And the professor taught us in a way that he would make it so practical that we understand how vital electricity is for us. So you never have it in your mind that those cameras or anything that is switched in, what is the course that it's taking for you to get the electricity. So we learn about the whole supply chain, the whole fuel cycle, and it was so interesting that he would teach us about how vital it is for us to not have electricity even for 5 minutes, because the whole grid dies, and it is so hard that we all of us are so independent, so we cannot live without it even for 5 minutes. So it's the whole world is so interconnected. So it was amazing. I would say electricity industry, very good course. Everyone should know where they are getting the electricity is from. Yeah.
As you said, it sounds very interesting, and the fact that everything is interconnected.
Yeah.
And what about you, Catherine?
Yeah, I don't have anything about interconnectedness, but still, I think in the conflict and democracy studies masters, all the courses are so different. So to choose my favorite, I don't think that's representative maybe for everyone. I think it was an elective. It was Dilemmas of Counterterrorism. I really enjoyed it because the professor is just very knowledgeable. And for me, anyways, it was what led me to continue a career in academia. So I thought for me, that was probably one of the most important courses that I took. But there are so many other classes that were just as great. And some, for example, like conflict methodology, which aren't particularly exciting, but they are very necessary to understand how to do research properly and how to make sure that the work you're doing is done properly so that it can be taken seriously. So I just think overall, all the courses are really great. I'm not really a big theory person, but I still recognize the value of the theory-based courses I took, and I just think they were all really helpful.
Thank you so much. And I do agree with you. I'm also not a theory person, but I do see the value of it. And just then, my favorite course is personally human rights and democratization. I really love human rights. I was very passionate before taking the course, but this course just managed to settle all the bases for me when it came to human rights, and it inspired me to choose that for my thesis topic. So I really enjoyed the course. We got the chance to be taught by a judge in the Czech Republic, so it was very interesting. And he was also a judge for the European Union. So that was for the European Court of Human Rights. So that was also very interesting. And talking a little bit more about Brno, how do you guys feel Brno? Like, do you guys feel that it's a very good student city to study here? Like, what about you, Priya? What do you think about Brno? Why do you think people should study in Brno?
I think it's a very safe student city, and it's the perfect definition of a student city in ways that you are getting so many discounts or perks. So you have a lot of discounts on goods and services, and being in the center of Europe, you get to travel all around Europe, and it gives you an escape from, not an escape, but like a weekend getaway. Not a weekend getaway for you to relax, and it's I would say very international. So I feel very at home in a sense, and I would really recommend Brno because of how safe it is. That was the first thing that I felt when I came here, that it feels safe, and you have so many choices and opportunities that you will never be bored.
I agree with you, Priya. As a person from Latin America, I think Nicolas and I can relate. That safety was also a very nice surprise when we came here. It was very nice. So I do agree with you, and I also think that Brno is very dynamic. There's always things to do here. I don't know if you want to talk more about it, Nicolas, because you're always doing something new in Brno.
Yeah, true. But actually, like, there's plenty of things to do over here. There's for every type of taste, like from art to just partying, you have everything covered. I feel the best thing that Brno has, like for internationals, is that first of all, there's many universities, and at the same time, like people that come from all around Europe. So basically, we can speak in English to people from all around the world, even though like learning a little bit of Czech, like interacting with people also gets, you get used after a while how to be polite, with the people. But the transport system is the thing that I admire the most. You have 24 hours of transport system. It's really accurate when it says that it's going to arrive at 10:02. At 10:02, you have your tram, so you can calculate pretty well where to go and what time you're going to be there, and you can move all around the city, even like to nearby towns. Like Czech Republic is really well connected, so you don't need a car. You just can have like the transport system card, and you just can go wherever you want and explore the place.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also, even with the transport car system, you also get a discount for being a student, as Priya said.
Sure.
So, like, it's really affordable. It's really convenient. I mean, I think you can vouch for everybody that is very convenient to use
I think
system.
Yes. First of all, now that I'm too old for the student discount, I appreciate it more now that it's gone. The student discount I think is almost 50% for public transit, like for long distance trains and whatnot. So it's really great. And I think studying abroad, I think for a lot of people is scary, especially if it's your first time. But Brno is such a great city to land in because it is smaller than the cities around. It's easy to navigate. The people are kind. There are so many international students or even local students that it's very easy to find somewhere where you belong. And so I think it's a great place if you're maybe a bit apprehensive about studying abroad and you want to do it, but you're unsure. I think Brno is a really great place to get that going.
I think you couldn't have said it better.
Thank you.
I had a friend that came to visit me for only 2 days, and in those 2 days, she told me, this city is so nice. It feels like a community. Everybody knows each other. Everybody's there to support each other. So I truly agree with what you said. But let's talk a little bit about money.
Money.
No. What about internships? What about part-time jobs? Catherine, would you like to share a little bit about the internship?
Yeah, sure. So in the last semester of my master's degree, I did an Erasmus Plus, I think, internship, right? So I went to be a research intern for a think tank in Serbia. So although it's outside of the EU, it still qualifies for funding from the Erasmus program. So I did that while I was writing my master thesis. And then I enjoyed it so much that I extended my internship for an additional 3 months, which the university and the Erasmus program also funded, because they have the option to keep funding you even though you've graduated. I don't know how long after, but for a short period after. So I ended up being an intern there for 6 months, which was really nice. And they were obviously very flexible to me and my needs, because I had to work on my thesis as well. So it was really great. And then I encouraged my friends who were a semester behind me to do it as well. So I just created like a wave of people going to intern in Serbia. But it was really nice. It's a fun experience. And then once I finished that degree, I also managed to land what at first was a part-time job for a think tank in Slovakia. And then it turned into a full-time position. So it worked out for me. But I do recognize that it can be a bit more challenging as well. I think I got a little bit lucky. But yeah.
But yeah, like, so there's like a lot of internship opportunities, like Catherine said. For example, I also work with her in Globsec as her intern. She was my boss. But it was so much fun, and I learned so much about the EU, about international relations. I think that was the point where I realized, oh my God, I'm actually learning stuff. Like, I was sure I was learning, but this was like the very confirmation that I was learning. So, Nicolas, you also have a part-time job here in Brno, right?
Yes.
You have 2 or 1?
No, like 1, but I also do other stuff. Yeah, that's kind of the thing. Like, Brno is pretty open to, like, we cannot say that there's jobs for everybody, but there's like part-time jobs where we can work maximum like 20 hours a week. And of course, like, there's opportunities of being here to work, but at the same time, it's good just to know that we are here to study first, and not because of work, we're going to leave the studies on the side. Like me personally, I worked in a restaurant and I enjoyed it pretty much, because like I have my schedule kind of free and I can just select the days that I want to work. And that's why I'm still here, like working just a part-time job and working at a restaurant. But so far I started like working with concerts and helping around and, that type of things, because the artist movement is pretty big here in Brno. So for those that are creative and, they want to work like in this type of industry of entertainment, there's a lot of projects like, being built right now. You can check it out. Like, there's a lot of offers here in Brno, but first of all, you got to get here. And then like, I feel knowing people, that's going to open the doors to get into positions and stuff like that. So, yeah.
No, I totally agree with you. And there's a lot of festivals as well, like a lot of film festivals in Brno, which is really cool. They had like a human rights festival. Then they had a Ukraine film festival. Like, they had a lot of art, and it's so cool. Also, a lot of art sculptors around Brno. Yeah. But what about you, Priya? You work in a bakery, right?
It's a cafe.
I almost got it.
So yeah, I bake. So I usually work 20 hours a week. I bake 3 or 4 times a week. Yeah, and I really love it. It's the best job ever. So and cool. We get to try new recipes, and I've always enjoyed baking. And I was fortunate enough to find work as a non-Czech speaker, which is a really big thing when you first come here. It takes some time to find a job, but I was just keep pushing, keep just going, keep sending those emails. You will find a job. So yeah, you will find one. And yeah, I really like it. I get to bake and eat cake.
That's fantastic.
It's a dream.
And a more serious question: what's your favorite recipe?
I would say we make really good cinnamon rolls.
Yum. Oh, that's a cafe to look out for.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking a little bit about, going back to the education part, because I think we didn't talk that much. What about professors, guys? Like, do you have a professor that you look up to, like somebody that really, really became your crush of academia? I don't know.
Oh, yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. Who
Go
should
first,
start?
Nicholas.
Shall I
I
start?
think I feel you're very confident.
Yeah. Just like the professor Nadia and Werner Winder. Like there's like both of them. Like because of Nadia, I came to study cultural sociology basically, because when I was searching like the masters, I said like, okay, who are the professors, and then trying to read like the articles that those professors wrote. It struck me like really hard. Like I really liked the way she writes and how she gathers all the evidence and information. Her research is more about migration, even though like my interest is different, but you know how meanings are so relevant in migration phenomena. I learned it because of her, and you know, knowing that you know, as a really strong woman, like pushing cultural sociology, you know, towards like new boundaries. It's really like I really admire her, and at the same time, the professor Binder, that it's my thesis advisor. I'm not saying this because she is my thesis advisor, but you know, basically. They've made works together, so it's nice to read them and to see to know that, oh, I had a beer like with this person that just, you know, wrote this type of material. They have books and stuff like that. Like they're really heavyweights in cultural sociology, and you can have just normal conversations with them after class. And there are people that are open to all the students. They help you like directly in every single question you have. So I feel it's a great advantage to not only come here and study a master, but to know the relevant people that are making research right now. Yeah.
Yes. No, I agree with that. Like the professors here are very, like they know your name. They try to know you. It's not that you're just another number and that's it. They are very nice. They're very kind. I don't know if you agree.
Yeah. They are very accessible, I would say. They not only help you during class, they are also open to consultations. They're always encouraging us to read the material, come up with any questions, and I would say all of the professors are really, really nice, but I have a bias towards my now thesis supervisor.
Classic. Normal.
So Hedvika, she teaches us courses about energy and society and more of the societal aspect of energy access. She was also the one who taught us about energy policies in Asia, which was really interesting because we had two classes about India, and I learned so many things that I didn't know about. And she is someone who would never I would say she always encourages you. She would never say, okay, not now, or she doesn't have time or anything. She will always encourage you to speak. She makes us talk in class. So most of her classes are seminar based. So we would come up with some group discussions or some questions, and she would ask each and everyone, and mostly the people who would not be so excited to talk or who are a bit conscious about talking. So you learn about how to be a bit more confident in speaking, and you learn that none of your thoughts or your you are contributing to the discussion, and that's the most exciting thing, I would say, that I experienced when I came here. That you are allowed, and more than that, you are expected to speak. You are encouraged to speak, and none of your thoughts are irrelevant. So yeah, I would say, yeah, all of these professors are really encouraging. So
Yes, as Priya said, like most of the classes here are discussion based, so you are expected to participate. You're expected to give your opinion, and I also would like to hear from you, Catherine, because I know you had a different bachelor's, totally unrelated with this, and then you came to a master's of social studies. How was that?
Yeah, so Amir is referencing the fact that I did my bachelor's back in Canada, and I studied like a business, commerce, business bachelor's degree. So I did like IT management, supply chain. Lots of different factors maybe led me to realize that I don't like it. One of the things was that the classes were so big. Back in Canada, there was nothing under 75 people in my business classes, upwards to like 200 people sometimes per class. So it was like these massive auditoriums. Anyways, that was one of the reasons. But when I eventually made my way here and the classes were 20-ish people. It was so nice to be able to get to know the people in your class, but it was also really great that the teacher knew your name, cared about you. It was very, at the beginning, I was very taken aback. I was like, why are you asking me these questions about myself? But they're just kind and they want to get to know you. And that to me was really encouraging, I think, because when obviously there's motivation from within, but like it's also great that your teacher knows who you are and they know what your interests are and what your strengths are and where you need more help. So it was really nice to feel like very well supported. I think, like you said, Nicholas, I have some professors in my degree as well that are heavyweights in their field. One that comes to mind, for example, is Miroslav Mareš, who taught me my Dilemmas of Counterterrorism course, who I would label him the counterterrorism expert of Czech Republic and Slovakia. Maybe he wouldn't agree with that, but I'm going to go out and put that label out there. And just learning from someone who has so much theoretical but also practical knowledge and who has experienced so many different things and has spoken at all these different panels and he has helped out in like policy making and he's spoken at the EU level, so just so much knowledge. He's not my thesis supervisor. I would like to say that he is great even without that. But my thesis supervisor as well, she is just so kind and so caring. So much so that I decided to stick around for another degree with her as my supervisor as well. But overall, I've gone to so many of the professors, whether that was during my degree or after, where I've just sat down with them and asked them kind of like, what should I do with my life? Like when I wasn't sure during my master's degree what I was going to do afterwards, I sat down with a lot of them and they just had a lot of really nice and constructive advice for me, which I still hold on to today. And there's a lot of them that I still reach out to even now, either to review some papers that I wrote or to ask some questions about different theories or different methods. And they literally always find time for me, which is just so kind, and they answer emails and phone calls so quickly. So overall for me, the support system is pretty important in like anything I do, and I find that it's really great here.
Thank you, Catherine. And I couldn't agree more. As we already said, like the professors here are so nice, they are so capable, they have an immense amount of knowledge, and they are just prepared to welcome you because they know what it's like to be an international student. They know that you might be scared, that you might be terrified even. So yeah, technically that. Now, Nicolas and Priya, you guys are working on the podcast, right?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Oh, you want to talk more about it?
Okay, like it's FSS Lounge. We already have like a Spotify. Abhinav, who is not here, is also like working into it and doing a lot of job for it. Like so far, there's been how many episodes, if I remember, like 3, 4? But anyways, like we are launching, like we try to launch a new episode every week. And we have like a studio here, like a radio studio, like a really professional one. So we are taking advantage of it. And we want just to share with not only students, but the people around, like a lot of interesting information from professors, other students, even people around the corner. Like, for example, I'm going to make a program with some guys that are putting all together the arts in Brno and making like a collective from it. And it's a mixture between international students and Czechs. So we want to show like how that correlation between, the people and the upcoming students, it's just creating like a new type of art. So it's just like FSS Lounge is for all type of things. What are you researching about?
Students, and we also have some visiting professors and any new faculty members or anyone who is interested in sharing about their expertise are welcome on the podcast. And I think we have a lot of new episodes in the making, and we also put them on our website. And I have so far interviewed 2 of my professors, but I would say we have covered almost all of the professors in the IRP courses, and and I would say these are not your plain basic, too academic or too serious interviews. They really focus on the professors, their academic journeys, how they decided to come into this field of academia, and what are their likes or we also talk about their personal publishers, or we talk about their fun anecdotes into why they chose this. And yeah, it is, I would say, not very academic, but also it is a holistic podcast, and you would really enjoy it. So I really suggest you tune in. Yeah.
There's a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Like basically, I just wanted to finish with that. Like, there's programs like from art to professors to academia to just like personal things. So we are like a lot of people who make different programs, but the idea is that everything is collected in FSS Lounge. So it's just conversations we have.
That's perfect, because it also allows you to see more in depth about what the professors do, what like how full of knowledge they are, and like also like just to kind of relax a little bit, because there are still people. So yeah, but apart from that, the faculty, apart from having a very good podcast, it also has amazing events like the barbecue. So Nicholas, Priya, and I, we have organized a little bit of this.
Yeah.
But Priya, you wanna shed a little bit more light into it?
I would say we have amazing barbecues, and we have a really good hike that we go on every semester, and we recently had an international lunch. And I would say this was just the beginning, and we will have it every semester, I would say. And we also had an MUN, which I would say, like to talk about.
Oh my goodness, it was so cool. It was yesterday, context. It was yesterday, and the MUN started last year. It kind of got a revival, to say it in a way, because it was inactive for more than 3 years because of the pandemic and everything. So last year was not that big, but this year it went all big. We had 2 new committees, and I was part of one of the new committees. I was part of Young Women, which I love gender issues. So we talked about 2 topics in the committee, and our committee was full women. It was like Barbie Land. I'm not gonna lie. It was just the best experience ever. And I was really happy that the delegates and the people that were participating, they were so happy that they wanted to come back next year. And just like having those types of like programs in our faculty that we can, I don't know, at least role play as diplomats and at least learn like the rules of protocol or how to do stuff if we ever pursue that path of our degree, because our degree also has like a lot of different paths that we can go through. It's really nice. And the fact that the faculty is also supporting each year more and more this program also is very encouraging. So yeah, I'm kind of sad that you guys didn't participate, but maybe next year. So, but what about you, Catherine? What is your favorite event in our faculty?
This is a tricky question because the first year of my master's degree was online because of COVID. So I feel like I missed out on a lot of stuff, which not my fault. It just happens. But when we did all manage to make it to Brno for the second year of our degree, I remember the barbecue. It was a little bit awkward at first because none of us knew each other. Like we had all seen each other over Zoom for a year, and we had to do group work. But it's just kind of awkward. And then we sat in class and no one really spoke to each other. But by the time the barbecue came around and you're not in a school setting anymore, it was a lot different. And we ended up really all getting along and even hung out even after the barbecue was over. So for me, anyways, it was a great way to finally get to know my classmates and again, just create a really nice environment, like a learning environment. So it was great.
No, that's so cool. Yeah. And I mean, that's what the barbecue is also for. Yeah, like to get to know your classmates aside from all the academia thing, classrooms and everything. And it's so nice. It's just having a really nice grill made by the professors, by the way. Sure. They're also so kind and that they make sausages for us, which is nice. And we also have the hike, which I only went once, but I think you can tell us more about it, Priya.
I also only went once. But it was really, really nice. It was a really good experience. We get to talk to our professors who chose to join us. And also, as Catherine said, it is outside the class, so we get to talk more about life in general with our colleagues, and it is one of my favorite events. I like hiking a lot, so I enjoyed it, and we have another hike this month on Saturday, 27th April.
Yes, we do.
Yes, you should definitely come, and it will be really, really good. I'm sure.
Are you going?
Yes, I
Very
will be
well.
there.
Priya will be there.
Yes.
So, but I think it's time for questions. Are you guys ready?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
We have one for Catherine.
Ooh.
Oh.
What was your biggest challenge in Brno?
I would say my biggest challenge was probably when you first show up. You show up in a new city, in a new country. You don't speak the language. No matter how much Googling you do and how many TikToks and things you look up on Reddit, nothing prepares you right for being here for the first time. But the university has a great buddy program that I took full advantage of. And so I made a really nice friend who picked me up at the train station and drove me to IKEA and showed me around the city and helped me out with everything. So it was really nice to show up and maybe have a little bit less pressure, than what you were expecting. And I've gone back to this person so many times, just for any question I had in regards to living in Brno. And now we are friends and things are great. So it's just, for me, at the beginning, it was really challenging, but it was made pretty easy thanks to the university program. Yeah.
What other questions? That's for you, Priya, I think. Can you explain more about career opportunity in energy policy course inside Brno and across EU for non-native speakers?
Oh, okay. We've also, plugging the podcast here, we talked about career in energy policy to a lot of our professors, and they told us about all of the alumni that are working right now in the energy sector. It may not be in the industrial side of energy, but they are working with analytics and market structures, and they are working in administrative jobs, they are working with the government, and I would say it is a very lucrative course, and it is a very, I would say, in demand industry, so it would not be very hard for you to find a job. And for non-native speakers, I would say it is really encouraged to learn a different language, be it Spanish or German or French. But I would say if you keep looking and keep getting some internship positions, I would say it would give you a head start into the industry and you would be able to find a job. But there is no downside to it, I would say. So you will definitely find a job.
Next question. Yes, the deadline for the applications for masters is on the 30th of April, yeah. 30th of April, and the deadline for the bachelors, either international relations and European politics, global challenges, or politics, media, and communications, is on the 1st of June.
But also like politics, media, and communication and global challenges, it's today. So
that's true.
So for both that already started, like today is the day.
Sorry, my brain is in Mexican time.
We have another question over here.
Amira, this one's for you.
I don't think you need, for the bachelor's program, I don't think there's any foundational knowledge you need to have, except maybe the willing to learn. Because, as long as you're willing to learn and to be prepared to be, contested with a lot of information that might be new. For example, I'm from Mexico. I didn't have any idea about the EU and how did it work. And my first course about it was a lot of information that I think I still struggle with. So I don't think you need any foundational knowledge, but as long as you're willing to learn and you have the skills to synthesize and separate the information to what is important, I think you're good to go.
All right. Okay, what opportunities does cultural sociology open one to? a lot of them actually, like, because
Thank you.
like sociology is basically about society, right? And society is what does a lot of things. But as I said at the beginning, like it goes more towards there's institutions that work with communication, for example, and they need to create, like, let's say, a strategy for selling something to a community. So us as cultural sociologists, we can interpret that community and we can understand what are the meanings that are relevant for them, and we can use it for the company, or like help the company to successfully get into selling their product. In other things, we have like research projects, like usually we can analyze and interpret like empirical evidence. And after some work experience in the analysis and interpretation roles, we can be team leaders or in different types of companies. Like I've seen cultural sociologists working as as managers, also at the same time, you know, as just researchers for think tanks, and also as well like for big companies. Like for example, like there's a company called Flamingo Semiotics that basically they provide with sociology, like expertise in sociology, cultural sociology, information like consultants to bigger companies as Coca-Cola or name it, for understanding how the consumers behave and how they can make products that are more accurate for them. So cultural sociology with interpretation, we can cover like a wide range of jobs. Yeah.
Interesting. Flamingos.
What else?
How is the teaching methods at the university for master's courses? Is it more discussion-based or assignment? Okay, maybe I can take this one. I think the teaching methods are extremely varied depending on the professor. I had, as I mentioned earlier, courses that were fully discussion-based. I had courses that were only lectures. I had courses where we sat in a circle and debated, and I had courses where we role-played different conflicts. So it's very different. The assignments themselves, I think we write a lot of papers. I think that's inevitable for any degree. But you're often very free to choose your own topic. So there's a great variety. Unfortunately, if you're not much of a public speaker, you will have to become one, I think. But it's a very important skill to have. And I think all classes, even if they are more lecture-based, still require quite some participation. But I think participation is what makes the classes really strong. So, yeah, varied.
Yes.
Yeah.
What do you like?
Ooh, more relaxed or more exciting?
Oh.
I'm gonna go with relaxed. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. I
would say
think you guys have to agree with me.
Yeah, for sure.
No, it's relaxed in the sense that, and maybe this is just my personal experience, but my bachelor's degree was very stressful. It was a very competitive university that I went to. People were not there to make friends. People were there to get better grades than you. We were graded on a curve. So, you know, there was like an average that the classes had to be in. So no one was there to make friends. Whereas here, people are here to help you. You miss a class, someone can help you out. You know, someone can share their notes with you. The professors are always willing to, meet with you and explain things to you again. The people are kind. And I think everyone is kind of in the same boat, right? As we're all international students, we all don't know a lot of people. So although it looks intimidating at first, everyone's in the same situation. I think it's just a very relaxed environment, and I think it's great for learning.
Yeah.
Yes.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
But it's also exciting. What would you say is the key difference between IR and conflict and democracy studies? Oh my goodness. It's an exam question. Okay, maybe, I don't know. I didn't do international relations, so I'm going to say something, and then if it's wrong,
Yeah, it makes sense.
yeah, please feel free to correct me. But the conflict and democracy program oftentimes is focused on very particular situations in one country or in one region, and we don't really look at large geopolitical matters. We don't really have classes about shifting world order or stuff like that. So it's maybe, we did, but only one. So I feel like just so that we had a base. So maybe that is the difference. We did a lot of case studies. I think that was like a really big pillar of our program.
No, as you said, I think conflict and democracy studies is more specialized, like in a certain type, like in a certain aspect that is also international relations, where international relations is more broad. Well, I mean, conflict and democracy studies is a master's, so it's like more specific.
Yeah.
So yeah, but as Catherine said, it's more about the geopolitical aspect, about the behavior of states. How do they react? Like, how do they make decision making? Well, this is more about why states, or why the situations happen,
Yeah, all those things you just listed, we didn't do that. So, so there's your answer.
What else we have? It depends on the program, I think, but generally I can take from like at least like in the general sense, like the interviews, they want to know more about you. They want to see if you actually speak English and you can have a conversation. Those are like main things. And of course, if you have some knowledge, like you don't have to know everything. That's why you're coming, because you're here to learn. But at the same time, like you know what you're going to study. So like I recommend that check a couple of articles, check your professors, what they're doing. That's going to give you not only the advantage, but at the same time, that's going to help you to understand where are you coming and what you're going to study. That's the most important thing for the interview. You have something else that you want to?
What I did for my interview was checking the courses, like as you said, that I was more interested in, and checking the syllabus, checking that, okay, I'm kind of interested in this. And even like be prepared for that, because they're also going to ask, why are you choosing this program? Why are you choosing this university? Like, so be prepared for those questions. Also, yeah, just be honest. Like, be honest, be you. Don't try to pretend to be anybody else. If you don't know something, just tell them. Like, just be honest. So, yeah.
I also took the opportunity to ask the people doing the interview, because they were professors from my program. So I had some questions for them. Flip the table around. No, it was good. It was good because, you also need to make sure that this program is the right fit for you. It's not just them accepting you, but also you accepting the program. So I definitely took the opportunity to ask a few questions about the program, about their experience as professors. But yeah, as you said, be yourself.
Yep.
Nothing better.
We have another question. What's your favorite place to go?
Can I go first?
Yeah.
Okay. Super underrated. I think a lot of people would disagree, but I think Bratislava is such a great city.
Yeah.
I agree.
Thank you.
I agree.
Let's go together.
Yeah.
It's so close by train. Maybe 2 hours at most, not even, like an hour and a half. And it's just so cute, and it's so great. And if you speak a little bit of Czech, then great. It's a transferable skill when you go to Bratislava. I don't know. It's a smaller capital, obviously, but I think it just has a lot to offer. Great history. It's by the Danube, so if you go in the summer, it's really nice. It's just, I think, really underrated.
Yeah, it is underrated.
What about you, Priya?
You can't say Bratislava. I said.
I would say I have been to, I would say 2 places. I really liked Krakow and Budapest. They both have a very different vibe. And I would say I like Budapest for its architecture, which is quite old, and it is opposite from what we have here in Brno. And I really like that it is a big city, but it has a kind of a cozy vibe to it. It was really, really nice. And Krakow, because of the food.
Yes.
Amazing food. And we had, so there is a lot of opportunities to go wander around in the nature there. And also their castle. It was really, really amazing. But I would say you would have lots and lots of opportunities to go around. So these are just the places that we liked. So
I will bring some stuff from Czech Republic. Like I like Telch a lot. It's this like small medieval town still with the walls and, you know, the water surrounding the walls. You know, probably there was crocodiles there or something like that. But, you know, like those little towns that still exist and have like their actual architecture. Some of them are, you know, they even have museums inside. Like Telch is recommended 100%. And there's like smaller towns all around. Like Czech Republic has a lot of castles. And it's something to explore. Suddenly when you're going to Vienna, that is 1.5 hours from here, you can check a couple of castles on the way just from the train. So it's just something to explore. As I said, like the transportation system is really good. So you can go to a town during the day, just visit around. You know, people are friendly here in Czech Republic, even though at the beginning you can see them, you know, culturally we're different. You know, like for a Latino, for me, like I felt it like a little bit cold, but at the end I realized that actually they are super warm. It's just like it's this first layer of knowing you, and after that they just open the doors of the house for you. So I think it's a good thing to explore the country as well. What about you, Amira?
What's your favorite?
What's your favorite?
If you're Latino and you want to go for the warm feeling, I really like Croatia. I went to Split, but I only stayed in Split to then travel around because they have a lot of little islands. And I went to the island where they recorded Mamma Mia too. It's my biggest flex in life, you know. So I went there and it was so nice because it was empty. Like there was nobody there. I was like, is this whole island for myself? Yes, it was. So, so yeah, I really like Croatia. So, yeah.
Yeah. It's just like it's very affordable. I would say like compared to other cities, 100%. Yeah. Even though it's good to know that there's inflation as always, so it's good to be prepared. But so far, Brno is a place where we can live. And if you're having a part-time job, for example, it's perfectly fine for covering your spends. And food is cheaper when you have an IC card, so that's another thing. So as a student, you're going to get discounts almost everywhere. So it's good just to show your student card wherever you go. There's museums that are for free. So you're not going to spend as much as if you come just as a tourist. So yeah, I think it's recommended.
Oh, definitely.
Okay, well, I can't speak for IR specifically, but as I mentioned earlier, I did my bachelor's degree in a completely different field. Right, I did like Bachelor of Commerce. So when I went to do my master's in political science, they did ask me at the interview what I was doing and why I was flipping to such a different field. But if you are making this decision, it is because you think it is the right one for you, and it should be easy for you to explain why you're making that switch. So for me, I was just honest with them, and I told them, you know, when I realized that it wasn't the right fit for me, what it is I'm seeking to gain from this new field. But I was just honest about my answers. So I think I don't want to obviously tell you that of course you will be accepted, but I don't see it being such a hurdle if you have, you know, good reasons. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Like PhD, yes, but this is the thing, like PhDs are different than masters and bachelors, but for sure, it's not going to be in cultural sociology, it's in general sociology. But the thing is that so far with PhDs, we got to know that there's not much acceptance as in masters or in bachelors, you know, because there's a different way to apply, but anyways, they're open every semester. So it's just a matter of checking out, like when you're studying your masters, you're going to know the professors that actually follow you through in the PhD. So yes, it's possible, but you know, it's something to take in account that there's other possibilities as well to check around, because like even the same professors are going to help you with that process. Me, myself, I'm trying to get into the PhD, probably here, probably in another university, but it's nice that the professors actually recommend you like, oh, you can go to this university that it's more towards what it's your research, what you want to do and that type of thing. So the professors for sure are going to help you to find a route where to go with your PhD.
I think you should ask that question to admissions. So you can send an email with that question to admissionsfss@gmail.com. gmail.com? No.
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 No,
that's
Uni.
not. No, we will put, like, they will put the email so you can send it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a lot of questions for cultural sociology. First time.
It's
I'm glad about it. What is the impact of cultural sociology on the technological advancement? Wow. Oh,
Some question.
Exam question.
yeah. No, actually, I remember there was a class we had a class in AI about AI and how society create AI and how AI is making influence in society. Of course, there's been cultural sociologists putting their noses on neurotechnology or biotechnology because the idea is we not only research the ways of interpretation as images, and stuff like that. We can also see what's going to be the influence of scientific finding in the society that found that specific thing. So, for example, with AI system, we can now produce products that can connect, let's say, somehow with the brain. Is it good or not? So that's kind of questions that we start researching as cultural sociologists and how people are understanding that. Like when with ChatGPT, everybody started freaking out, thinking like, oh, does it has consciousness or not? Mm-hmm. So we kind of take a lot of theories from even philosophy, sociology, science itself, like, engineering, computation. So for different fields that came to study the master's in cultural sociology, it's nice to have classmates that come from other type of disciplines, and all together using the theories of cultural sociology, we come up with new theories and new ways of understanding what's going on with the technological development. So yeah.
I think there's one last question about the accommodation and the dorms, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Here. How are the dorms in Brno?
Well, I think Nicolas can start because
I am the dorm guy right now.
You're the dorm guy. And I can follow.
The dorms are nice. There's many of them. The thing is, it's good to know that right now the availability at the dorms is not the best. I'm not saying that there's no space. Of course, there's space, but it's good to know that if you have the way for finding a private accommodation, that there's plenty of it. It would be even better for you. Like I'm trying to find a private accommodation right now. There's nothing wrong with the dorm. But it's just like there's a time that you just feel that you want your private space. But for some other people, it's a really enjoyable experience to live with other people from other countries. And actually, there's a lot of friendships that develop from it. The prices are really affordable. Like the dorms are always going to be a little bit cheaper than the private accommodation. But you can figure it out what works better for you. Even there's pictures of the dorms, how the places look like, and they're pretty accurate of how actually they look like. So I would recommend it, like the experience, at least. Meanwhile, you come, once you're here, staying in the dorm, you're going to have time for finding, a better private accommodation for yourself.
Yes, that's true. I lived in 3 of the dorms that were in Missouri, in Kuniksova, which is right now closed for renovation. But I also live in Komarov and Klasilova. Komarov is a little bit farther away, as you know, and you still live there, Priya?
I lived at Konitsova, not Komarov. Yeah.
What? You lied to me. I'm joking.
So I have also lived in 3 dorms. I was in Namistimiro when I arrived, and then we had to switch to Konitsova, which was really great. I'm sad that it closed. Yeah. So now I live at Manisova, which is recently renovated. Yeah. So it is a really great option. Only 2 people in 1 room. So I would say it's affordable, it's nice, and not too far away from the main city center. And I think that's true for almost all the dorms. They're quite accessible, and you are not too far away from the center. So they're all really good.
Yeah, if somebody with a bachelor's in psychology can study cultural sociology, yes. And actually, it would be really interesting for you as a psychologist. There's plenty of things that we research about. I'm not going to repeat the same thing all over and all over. over.
No,
But yeah, for sure. Even like we use theories from psychology to understand like how people create interpretation. So it's like a multidisciplinary thing. Like it's not only that this is only sociology and whatever. This is like part of a new turn that sociology made. So that's why it's cultural sociology, completely different than the traditional sociology, because we're trying to gather together like these different disciplines and researching from different disciplines. So for sure, psychology will be more than welcome in the masters. Yeah.
All right. Why did you choose this university over an American
Prize.
university? That is the first reason. I don't know. I think of safety, security. Also, to me, that was a really big factor. Maybe I'm just a little paranoid, but obviously there is. Besides the one very unfortunate event last year, I mean, universities here are very, very safe. So for me, that was a big thing. But also the price is just, it's a fraction of the cost to study here. And if you really want to do both, you could always do a free movers semester or even a year in the US. So there's options. But I mean, on paper, I think it makes more sense to come here. It's cheap, it's safe, the education is great, the classes are smaller. But ultimately, I think it's up to everyone to make their own choice. But I'm happy I made this choice.
Yeah.
Me too.
Great.
All right, guys.
Okay, I think that would be it. Thank you so much to Nicolas, Priya, Catherine, and everybody that is watching here. So please, if you really, really are considering studying at Masaryk, just send your application already. What are you waiting for? At this point,
Do it.
literally.
Thank you very much.
So much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining.